So Aduro basically developing a solution to a much needed and required in the market today, mainly for the chemical recycling, so plastic recycling. This is a problem that has significant interest by society and by government and by everyone around us. And it's a problem that is keep on growing. And we have a very, very unique approach that was not there before. We discovered the phenomenon. We will talk about a little bit about the history after that. And that approach provides significant advantages compared to whatever everyone else is doing. It's technology superior to whatever everyone is doing.
Most pursued technology today actually likes pretty clean waste. Now, that's a contradiction. Yeah, in fact, you do not talk about clean waste, but it means that you have to collect and sort and clean it, everything in very much detail, which in the end of the day delivers it rather expensively at your doorstep. The second thing is you have a process, and that process should be efficient, and the most pursued technologies are not super efficient. And then to top it off, you do have to clean it up before it can enter through the big portal to the chemical industry, which is the steam cracker, which is a very expensive and also very picky asset. And you do have to make sure it is really clean, and most technologies require a thorough cleanup. What we do clever is we eat real crap, the stuff that remains after picking out the good bits. We do that with a high yield, and we do it in such a way that you do not need all that post cleaning. The real underlying chemistry is different. So all the incumbents are essentially variations on one team. And the guys and girls have done brilliant pieces of engineering, and I admire them. And we as a company, we never talk that down, because it's a very difficult thing, because you're trying to make something that is gooey and sticky, and you have to heat it up and make sure it doesn't burn like porridge at home. So very good stuff has been done, but in the end of the day, the fundamental chemistry is not very attractive. And they essentially break down that old plastic into a pretty low quality feedstock, and they lose a lot of good material on the way. And that is just very difficult. By using a slightly different chemistry, we end up with a product that is wonderful. I call it candy for a cracker. Very favorable chemistry. And then to knock it off, the process that we design, and of course, some of you may have driven past these huge petrochemical complexes, and it looks all very complicated. And a lot of those things are absolutely colossal, and for that reason efficient. But they are also equipment that is tailor-made, unique, very expensive. What we do is we work with pots and pans that you can actually buy off the shelf and combine them like a jigsaw. And that makes that also in our whole scaling, upward or downward, we can adjust very easily. You do not have exceptionally long lead times. You can build it like a piece of jigsaw, and you can build it in the right scale for a calm region in the Dakotas where there's not that much plastic waste, because plastic waste you do not want to haul around. You can also build it in metropolitan Houston where there's an abundance. So you build a big plant or a big plant. So you can modularly adapt to the local situation.
It's a confirmation for that assessment. Now we have to build the economic model, we have to build a business plan, we have to do the whole thing around that. But this is maybe a third-party organization that does accept the final product. We actually did that samples on our R2, so the one that is less efficient, we're actually building now a pilot, so we expect even, I hope, better results than whatever you see here. But it is an assessment for whatever we told our investors, for the basic of why we think this would be a different approach that is actually, and investors were looking for those type of confirmation. We actually run it on a simulation that is equal to industrial scale process, and we've been judged by a simulation that, people that has no really ties to us. Why would they care? They just either report on it or not, basically. So that's kind of what's the significant. And I'll stop there, and I know Eric has a lot to say.
Yeah, maybe I can sketch a little bit of the world. I told you about this wonderful world of steam crackers, and these are the billion-dollar items at the beginning of the chemical value chain. And the funny thing is, there's only 4 companies that license those things out. and the names you can find on the internet. I'm not going to bother you with that. And actually, they hold the key because for all their licensed machine, they will tell their operators, yes, you can take this feedstock, or no, you shall shy away from that. So we felt that we were ready to do something remarkable, and that is to take our material as is and run it on there. And the verdict is, yeah, it cracks quite well now. You can crack everything if you want to, just crank up the temperature high enough. But there was a little nice annotation to it. It says there is a very good likelihood that indeed your claim to fame, which is you can stuff it into those crackers as such, um, that is probably going to work. Now, that is the super confirmation. This is the authority. I can speculate. I can use my wonderful blue eyes or brown eyes actually, to tell that it's good, but nobody will trust me for that. This is the real thing. And I said for all those things, it is the evidence that you need from those people skilled in the art. That's what we're getting here. Those people know what they do. They have done it for a living for the last 40 odd years. And to get there, okay, that is a big thing. I can tell you it is a bit of an emotional moment.
I want to say something a little bit about steam cracker. Virtually every organization that wants to recycle plastic and make new plastic out of it has to go back to those monsters chemical plant. There's no way around it. And what it means is that you basically get a better price for it or a lower price for it. You better, you either blend it or you can get it as is. Those are the penalties, and in our industry is quite intimate, and so the audience will not know all of it. And explaining that to the audience sometimes it's interesting. Eric is doing it quite well, but for each organization, that is one of a major challenge because it basically state the price. At some point, it will state the price of the return of what you're actually selling. Forget about what you're getting, it's actually state what you're selling. So this is definitely a part of our milestones to be delivered and confirmation that we are very, very happy to share with the audience.
The word dilution is critical here. Like if you're taking this oil and you can only take a quantity of it and you have to dilute it with actually higher quality oil, you're not paying top dollar for that oil, right? Now, like in our case, when they can take that as is with no further dilution, with no hydro treatment, you're saving cost, you're saving capex, and you're paying top dollar because you don't need to mix it with other stuff to dilute the essentially average out the quality with super good material in this like lower quality oil. So it's a pretty transformative milestone for us, and it's coming from one of the very few subject matter experts in the space. And like Eric mentioned, there's not a lot of those. You can count them on one hand. These are really large scale companies that are subject matter experts, and they hold the key to a very significant part of the value chain.
Now we have to show that we can do it on the bigger plant as well. I'm actually not that nervous at all. Our vision is that the world will not have 10 or 15 plants of our kind. It will have hundreds, if not thousands.